Hello, my name's Dr. Alan Bilton. I'm a lecturer in English literature and creative writing, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about my new collection of short stories, Anywhere Out of the World, which is published by Killian Press. So I guess the book is a collection of dreamlike short stories that is intended to be poised somewhere between horror and comedy, which at a first glance are quite strange bedfellows, I admit. You tend to think of comedy as something comforting, you tend to think of horror as something unsettling. But what I wanted to examine was the connections between the two, and I think there are lots of them. I think both are about the illogical and irrational. I think both are about surprise and shock. Both are about immediate emotional or physical responses, either a laugh or a shudder. And what I really wanted to explore was the idea of comedy and horror as a kind of anxiety dream. Now, I've already written on silent film comedy. As a kid, I loved Laurel and Hardy, and I loved all those sort of slapstick comedies, crazy things happening of people wandering across bridges, chased by gorillas. But I was very worried about them. I was always worried about Stan and what was going to happen to him. I was very anxious throughout, because they're very dreamlike or nightmarish comedies. And that's the kind of thing I wanted to do with a book. I wanted it to be kind of a dream book, and a kind of a crazy house where you can go from one story to another, where there are secret passages or trapdoors or ways through the various stories. They're all set in, I guess, surreal locations, surrealist locations, from Paris as the home of surrealists, to Venice, to Russia, which is very surreal for foreigners, grimly realistic if you live there, to Walla Walla, Washington in America, one of the most surreal American locations I've ever been to. Incidentally, the strangest story in the book perhaps is Walla Walla, Washington, but it's completely true. So I was picked up at the airport, genuinely, by a Native American guy who took me on my way, and one of the first things he said to me was, "Princess Diana, she was pretty beautiful, don't you think?" And I thought, yeah. What were you going to say? I said, yes, she was. So he turned around and said, "So why did you kill her?" And I was immediately kind of thrown by this, and he meant that, why was this conspiracy to bump her off? And I couldn't think what to reply about any of these things as it was going on. And I couldn't work out whether he liked me or didn't like me. And at the end, as I got out, he said, "I will come and get you." And I thought, well, yeah. He said, "Wherever you are, I will come and get you." And he gave me his card, and I realised he meant he'd come and pick me up in a taxi, wherever it was, at least. And then wherever I was in Walla Walla, which is not a big town, I admit, he was the only taxi driver, and I'd see him just moving down the streets, just looking out for me mysteriously. The other strange thing about my trip there, very briefly, is that they did a great job for publicity for a talk I was giving. There was posters of me everywhere, and I was giving a talk in the evening, and I followed these posters, and there was loads of people around. It was dark, but there's lots of people flocking to these lecture theatres. And I thought, well, this is a pretty successful trip. And I found my lecture theatre, and I opened it. It was a huge building. I opened it up, completely empty except for one old lady who turned up to watch my the silent film I was talking about. They were all, the rest of them were going to a talk on climate change, like that's more important than going to a talk on silent film. So it was a surreal occasion throughout. And I suppose that spirit of surrealism in many ways is central to the book. The idea that surrealism is about the marvellous, about what takes you out of the ordinary, what takes you out into the realm of the fantastical and the dreamlike. The notion that the surrealists have that really we're creatures of habit and convention. We do the same things every day. We take the same route. We don't barely look around ourselves. We follow very familiar, well-trodden paths. The surrealists are all about what happens if we take a turning off that path. If we get off the bus or stop early, if we go somewhere randomly, we do something we've never done before. That opening of a kind of a trapdoor onto the mysterious, onto the absurd or the uncanny. And hopefully that's the spirit which I was trying to capture in this book. Thank you.